Hello everyone, it's Captain Sensible back again here. So Mr. Smelly's asked me to do another little guest review before his video. So here we go. Today I'm going to be talking about Acqua di Parma Colonia by Gucci. The perfumer for this one was Gene Wilder. The notes are bergamot, rosemary, lavender, magic mushrooms and patchouli. Now I quite like this one. It's actually been getting quite good ladies' reactions for me. Actually I wore it the other night to a singles night and I got on alright with this one. I met this older bird, an older woman, just been about 65, but she scrubbed up all right, to be fair. And anyway, the fragrance seemed to be, she seemed to quite like the fragrance, and we got on so well. She invited me back to her place. Now, when we got in, things got a bit friendly, if you know what I mean. And she said to me, how do you fancy a bit of mother-daughter action? I said, oh yeah, all right. So she got up and walked to the bottom of the stairs, and she called up, Mum, I've got one for you.
Hello and welcome back to everyone in the Smelly Army. So today I'm really excited about this one because I'm going to be talking about Fortune from Dua Fragrances. This is their take on Xerjoff's Naxos, one of my absolute favourite niche fragrances. I did a review on this where I gave it a 10 out of 10 score. I'll put the link to that review in the description. So I was really excited to find that Dua Fragrances have got a fragrance called Fortune, which is their inspired expression of Xerjoff's Naxos. So let's talk about what kind of fragrance this is first, and then we'll get into some more details about the Dua fragrance version. So Naxos from Xerjoff in the 1861 line is a really beautiful balance of freshness with some lovely sweetness and a rather significant tobacco note. It's a really refined, sophisticated scent. It's got a little bit of that freshness that makes us think maybe of the Italian coastline with the lemon and the bergamot notes. But it's got a lovely sweetness about it, cinnamon, honey, and this beautiful tobacco leaf accord. One of the best tobacco leaf type fragrances that I've smelled so far. Some people compare it to Pure Havane by Thierry Mugler, but really this, I must say, Xerjoff is in a whole different league in the quality and the naturalness of the smell of the notes. It performs really well. It's almost, I think I've included it in a beast mode list. I would say it's beast mode. Longevity, really, really good, and the strength is just absolutely excellent. So really good performing scent. It's classy. I think there's a bit of lavender in there. There's tonka bean, so it's got maybe a hint of a kind of barbershop thing, but much more to it than that with the lovely sweet notes, a certain spiciness, a little bit fruity, just a brilliant scent. Pretty much unisex. Claire from the Smurfy Girly channel's got an actual bottle. I've just got a decant here, and I've smelled it on someone else a lot. Really enjoyed it then, and on myself, it's a real favourite. Mainly, maybe leaning towards night out wear because it's quite a seductive, rich scent. But you know, if you don't go mad with the spray, I have actually worn this and the Dua fragrance to work, and I think it just gives a really classy air about the wearer. So let's get into Dua's Fortune. So let's talk about prices first. So Fortune from Dua, 30 mils on their website is $60. I'll put the link to the website in the description. That equates to about £45 in the UK. In comparison, then Xerjoff's Naxos, I think you can only buy a normal bottle rather than a decant as 100 ml size, and that is $235 on Lucky Scent. So clearly considerably less expensive to buy the Dua fragrance, although they're not super cheap clones. That relatively speaking, compared to Armaf and people like this, Dua fragrances do cost a lot more, so they need to be a lot better. The good news is, so far, in my experience, they generally are. I've had their version of Millesime Imperial, Imperial Pasteque, which I did a video on, and numerous other ones. The quality is excellent, and they really seem to have beast mode performance. Apparently, a lot of them have oil concentrations around about the 30% mark, which is really massive. Normal fragrances are somewhere from 10, 15, 20%, not much above that normally, even if they're eau de parfum, as is the Xerjoff one. So with all of these, the performance so far has been really good, and that is the case certainly with Fortune from Dua as well. Let's talk about the actual smell of it first though. So it really has this lovely, both of them have this lovely fresh opening, the Sicilian lemon and the bergamot. You get that little bit of the Italian coastline in your mind, but because it's such a sweet fragrance with so many richer notes in the base, it's not all about citrus freshness, not at all. And here is the official note listing for Fortune from Dua's website. Sicilian lemon, Calabrian bergamot, lavender, honey, cinnamon, sambac jasmine, cashmeran, tobacco leaf, tonka bean and vanilla. And we can see Dua fragrances now come with really nice labels. They've upgraded that since they started, so that's a good improvement. I really like the design of this bottle actually. So the lavender, the tonka give it almost a hint of the barbershop, but there's a really, really strong undercurrent of sweetness, and the vanilla, cinnamon and the tobacco leaf give it this spicy, sweet, kind of sophisticated aura, which I really, really enjoy. It's kind of a unique scent to me. And Dua's Fortune, when I compare it with Naxos, I've got one on each hand here, sprayed about an hour ago. It's so close that I'm not sure I can really discern any identifiable difference. It's a brilliant, brilliant copy. In the opening, maybe when you've just sprayed one on each hand and you compare, if you dig in, perhaps I think Fortune accentuates the fresher notes a little bit more. My Xerjoff Naxos seems to come off a little bit sweeter, a little bit quicker, and this one seems to hang on to a little bit of that zesty zinginess of the bergamot and the lemon for a little bit longer. So I'm not saying they're completely identical, but they're so close that it really is hard to know exactly what's different and to nail any clear difference between the two. I've had a lot of experience with inexpensive clones, and in some cases I think they're really good and worth the money, things like L'Aventure by Al Haramain. But when you smell that one, it's a copy of Aventus next to Aventus, you can instantly tell there's a difference both in the quality and just that they don't smell the same. Okay, with the Dua fragrances, I've honestly found that's not the case. It's really hard to identify any clear difference, and when you do, it's not necessarily that the Dua one is in any way worse. They really last well, and this one is no exception. I wore it to work yesterday and a couple of people did comment on it. I do know quite a few people at work who know that I'm into fragrances, but they don't normally say anything about my fragrances. But two people separately said, oh, what's that one? That one's really nice. That one's different to what you normally wear. So it seems to have really good performance from what I can tell. And when I've just tested it by smelling what's left on myself over the hours of wearing it, longevity is excellent. In this case, of course, the original fragrance also is very strong. So I guess all we're hoping is that it's as good. I could hardly ask it to be stronger. Probably the concentration of oil in the Dua one is a little bit higher. Certainly both fragrances, the original and the Dua, pretty much in the beast mode category. Superb performance on both of them. So the smell, honey, cinnamon, a little bit of floral notes, there's jasmine in there, sophisticated, somewhat fresh, classy, deep, rich. And the Dua fragrance, I have to say, 10 out of 10 for me, because it smells pretty much identical to the Xerjoff. Value for money wise, they're not super cheap, but you're getting 30 mils, okay, and that's $60. So it's not the biggest bottle in the world, but you're only having to outlay $60, around about £45. If you've got a bit of a collection, oftentimes a 30ml bottle is a really good, sensible amount to own, because a 100ml bottle, if you've got 9, 10, 20 bottles, if you're into this hobby like a lot of us watching the video, maybe you don't need those 100ml bottles. So when you compare that to outlaying $235 to get your bottle of Naxos, it's a huge difference. But of course, it's not a cheapo clone, so you have to take that into account. But for me, it's not a real second best type of fragrance. It's right up there, equal with the original. Performance is excellent. Similarity of scent is almost indistinguishable, so I'm very impressed about it. I know not everybody is into the idea of inspired expressions or clones, however you want to look at it. If you love the art of fragrances and you're just into really owning the real thing, of course, then you're going to have to save up and get the real thing. But if you just want to smell great, be noticed, and feel that you've got that aura around you that is classy, sophisticated, sweet, a little bit Italian, a little bit Mediterranean, then Fortune from Dua, one of my absolute favourites from them so far. So I would actually, this is one of the ones, because of course I was sent the bottle free for review. In this case, this is one where I would be actively considering forking out and buying it for daily wear, because I've only got a little bit of Naxos left, and I would be much happier to just keep splashing this one on, because I know I'm only going to have to outlay about £45 per bottle. So I think it's worth it. Not cheap, but worth it is my verdict on Dua fragrances. They deliver the goods, they smell really great. So feel free to comment, as long as it's civilized. You can comment either way what your opinion is about Dua fragrances or Xerjoff's Naxos and this video in general. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Don't forget to check out my Instagram page where I post a picture of my scent of the day and a mini review almost every day, so you can keep up with what I'm wearing throughout the week. And also, please have a look at my written review blog where I do written reviews of fragrances on a regular basis. The most recent one is Chinotto di Liguria from Acqua di Parma.